Hey, y'all. This is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends. Welcome to Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
I'm Dave.
And on this episode, we're going to talk about the UFO crash in Cape Girardeau.
Not camp.
Camp Girardeau?
Cape Girardeau.
Cape Girardeau.
Hey, our friends in Missouri are already starting off butchering it up.
Girardeau.
I was thinking must have got Camp Montauk or Camp Hero. And then Cape. So yeah, I got an excuse why I messed up. Cape Girardeau.
Okay.
The 1941 UFO crash.
All right.
And I'm sure I'm still pronouncing it wrong, but that is what we're going with today.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, hello. Welcome. Hello. You made it.
It's 2020. I'm here.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Lish.
Yes.
I want to make sure you get your time here because your time here. I mean, I see you have your tablet out because you have a very funny story about something your friend did.
I do. So my friend Erin, she inherited a painting from her uncle who had passed away. And actually, she sent me a picture of the painting. It was actually it's not one that I would put up, but that's because I'm terrified of birds. It's like a bunch of doves that are like flying.
Okay.
And I was like, no, I'm not into that. But so she had this she was staying with friends at that time, and it was in the corner of the one room that they were in. And I think some weird stuff was happening. At one point, she was putting some PJs on her son, and he started crying. And he said, "Why is that black cloud moving by itself?" And she was like, what? And it was totally light inside the room. So she was like, I don't really know what he's talking about. And also, I guess her friend had actually heard footsteps when nobody else was in the house. So, yeah, there was a lot of weird stuff happening. So they ended up putting the painting in the garage because they were like, something's wrong with this. I'm not sure what it is. And then I guess they heard children running up and down the hall, but it was coming from under her, which is where the garage was. So there was something going on. So she didn't know what to do. So she gave it to the Salvation Army. So somebody else has to deal with it. But anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, oh my God.
So she didn't have any kind of occurrences before the painting showed up.
Right.
And then after she had all this stuff.
Yes.
Now that the painting is out of the house.
Everything's fine.
Wow.
Yeah. So
okay.
I don't know what was going on there, but.
Sorry, Salvation Army.
Yeah.
Yeah, first, okay, now the Salvation Army is haunted.
I know.
But somebody's going to come along that loves birds, see that,
Oh, yeah.
take it home. I wish we had a way to track it so the next person
I know.
can call in and let us know if there's anything happening behind it.
Right.
And then we'll tell them, okay, take it to your local Salvation Army.
Give
and
it
let's
back.
keep the cycle going.
Right. I don't know.
Well,
Follow it around the
curious
country.
Just the whole concept. Like, how does a picture of birds get associated with ghost children? Like,
I don't know.
like that's a story in and of itself.
Yeah.
Who was the guy? He's completely fictional, but he was immortal. But because he had a painting of himself.
Dorian Gray.
Thank you. That was it. That's what I was thinking of when as soon as you said that. Like maybe the painting has the ability to trap the essence of these children, or
I
like
don't
it did
know.
with Dorian Gray.
She didn't. For a while, she
Right.
didn't want to tell me about this because she was embarrassed because she knew I was going to have to talk about this. She was like, I know you're going to want to talk about this. But she was like, I'm embarrassed because I actually gave it away to somebody else, some like stranger. And she was like, I don't want people to judge me. But she was like, I didn't know what to do.
And no one's going to judge you here, right, guys?
Right.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering if she knew any other history on it.
I don't know. I
itself.
think I did ask her that, and she's like, I actually didn't look into it. So,
Now I wish she would have sent it to us.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Oh, that would have been awesome.
And we could have hung it here in the studio
oh
and
boy.
see what would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Add 8 members to the cast.
Oh, boy. Yikes.
And more reasons why the two of you can't sleep at night. Even
I
things in your
know,
house.
exactly. I was just thinking that, too.
I tell you what, if we were sitting upstairs and heard kids giggling and running around down here.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I don't know. That'd be unnerving.
It wouldn't be
Yeah.
with the Salvation Army. It would just be outside on the
You
curb.
can see it flying out
Right.
the front door.
Yeah.
Hit my neighbor in the head with it. Yeah.
Wow. Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
I know.
I wonder, do paintings have the ability to capture things like that? I
Well,
guess you
objects can become haunted, like the spirits are attached to it. But
that makes me ask, why was that painting painted? You know what I mean?
Right.
Who made it and when? And was there after something happened and they put a lot of emotion
did
into
the
it?
painter like use his own blood to paint it?
Wow, I wasn't going to go there.
Well, I'm just saying.
Now I'm thinking Ghostbusters 2.
Right, exactly. Wow.
Well, and then that begs the question of, okay, what if the painting is just the medium for right now, but there's something about it that could be lost at any time? So you bring the painting in and you get a haunting, but then you get rid of the painting, but the painting dropped whatever it was that was holding the spirit, and now you've got this haunting in your house that actually you don't now have a cause for because the painting's gone.
right.
So are you saying that the painting itself would be like a thin layer of portable pudding skin?
In not so many words, yes.
Right, because you have it in your house, but to be able to witness it, you need to thin out the skin a little bit, and that's where the painting comes in.
Yeah.
Nice. It's like a snack pack.
Yeah.
All right, hey, if you're keeping count at home, that's one mention of the pudding skin. We'll see how many Nash can get in.
Yeah.
I'm picturing a film about this where like the painting becomes haunted, it absorbs whatever from history, but then it ends up in somebody's house, and
Yeah.
you just see in the background a little piece of pudding skin fall off.
Oh.
Nice.
Get absorbed into the wall, and the painting gets thrown out because it might be haunted. But now the whole house is
Oh,
haunted.
no.
That'd be interesting.
We got a
Yeah.
short film in the making right here.
Yeah.
What if you go in the painting
Yeah,
and be transported back to the time period it was made?
yeah.
That was like the most recent Doctor Who. They kind of did something like that with mirrors.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Just with the painting. Ah. Interesting.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Lish. That was a fun
Yeah.
story. We didn't mention the person, right? We're going to keep her anonymous. We're not going to throw her under the bus.
Right.
I did say her name, but
Oh, okay.
we won't say it again.
Just rewind 4 minutes. All right. Wanted to mention that we are part of the Podbelly Network. All kinds of great podcasts over there at podbelly.com. Check them out. All right, we got some listener feedback brought to you by Moses Family Jerky, the best snack to pack on your normal or paranormal adventure. Use our code SPOOKYJERKY15 to save 15%.
Jerky.
Yeah, see, get you started on something else
Yep.
besides pudding skin. That's 3 mentioned so far.
I only said the first one.
But Dave said one. I just said one.
Yeah.
If you're playing along at home, we're trying to break 100 today.
Oh, boy.
We heard from Daniel. He said, hell yes. They have the perfect blend of facts and humor. The crew play off each other precisely. Right. Right. Thanks, Daniel. That's very nice. We heard from Alexandra. Hey, guys. I just recently got into your show. I was looking for podcasts on the Wendigo, and your name popped up first. I'm enjoying every single minute of it. I am from South Africa, and we have our own mixture of crazy mythology. Tokoshi, for instance, is a popular one, as well as a haunted house in Cape Town, where I live. I don't know if that interests you or anything, but you can have a look. Oh, it sure does interest us.
Yeah.
Dave's
Big
shaking
time.
his head. I have my own stories to tell on the paranormal. The women on my mother's side have been sensitive to weird and wonderful things. My mom tells me that she can see people walking in places that are empty. My gran has loads of stories, like the time a haunted plate from a dead relative was not happy about being used and created a possessed room that
What?
had to have a page written out in Latin stuck to the door.
What? Wow. Like
What?
a warning spell or something?
Oh, my
She
God.
still has the page to this day. Anyway, I love your fantastic podcast and can't wait until the next episode.
That's
Thanks,
wild.
Alex.
Yeah, that
Alexandra?
sounds amazing. Like that sounds kind of like what I was describing,
Yeah.
like with the painting.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what if it didn't like how it was being used or put in a corner, and now it's haunting
Right.
the room? and
Right.
it's just gonna, like,
Or it didn't like what was put on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is, I'm really intrigued now.
Yeah, what's in the plate? And,
Yeah.
and when you've made it angry, so angry it possessed an entire room.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Alexandra sent us some stories from South Africa, so we're going to have those on the second half of the show. All right, we heard from Anthony E. Hey, guys. I'm relatively new to the podcast so far. I like it. I have a little bit of constructive skepticism for you.
Ooh.
Most recent episode of the Sorrel Weed House brought up Zach Bagans' hangover. I feel the need to point out that high EMF can have all of those same physical reactions. Not saying he didn't have them from the interaction with spirits, and there's a mundane reason why it can happen as well. He's referring to the fact that we quoted Zach Bagans saying he got a headache that felt like a hangover.
Right.
But Anthony's saying, well, sometimes high EMF can do that and has nothing to do with a ghost.
Okay.
The other thing to know is residual cigar or pipe smoke isn't necessarily an indication of anything supernatural. Most of those parlors prior to modernization are mostly wood and plaster. Even if the plaster has been replaced at this point, the native wood is incredibly porous. And cigar and pipe smoke is very strong, and that odor will leach into the wood.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all it takes is a slight warming of the wood. It's going to release those odors. Not saying the place isn't haunted. Savannah has a very dark and bloody history. It's been burned to the ground at least 3 times. Just noting that those two things are not necessarily indicative of a haunting.
Okay.
Got that word.
Yeah, good job on that one.
You guys are great, though. I listen to every new episode as soon as it comes out, and I'm still working my way through the back catalog. Well, thanks, Anthony.
Yeah,
Appreciate you sending that. Let's see a little comment here from our bud, Art Designs 305. That was a cool episode referring to the Sorrel Weed House. And he said, yogurt skin? Nah. Flan, yes.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Right on. The whole flan is nothing but pudding skin there. It's all firm all the way around.
And we heard from podcasts we listened to. That'd be Jeremy. He said he's actually in our neck of the woods listening to our show, Weird Coincidence. And we are going to be on an upcoming episode of podcasts we listen to.
Yes.
So I think we had a pretty good time.
I think so.
Dave didn't because he didn't make it. So you missed 2 things so far this year.
Oh, boy.
But we
Dave.
still love you.
1 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. We heard from Ray Bands 94. In reference to, we posted a picture of the new Wicked studio table with Frank on it.
Yep.
And he said, please, Nash, don't shave or pee near it.
I got to mark it somehow. I just got it in some way.
Oh, you're getting quite the reputation.
That's okay.
Yep.
That's okay.
We heard from Kelly. Hey, guys, have you heard about water babies? It's a Native American legend from around my area, and I think it would be a great episode. Keep up the good work.
Water babies.
Yeah. And we have a few stories from Kelly on the second half.
Okay.
Thanks, Kelly. All right, I'm going to finish up with one here from Nicole. And there's a couple things she says about some episodes and some stuff that you have to answer a question at the end here. All right, so Nicole says, I emailed y'all a while back recommending the man who killed Hitler and then Bigfoot. After listening to one of our episodes, I have to say I was excited when you read my email. Now I have to say I'm writing this email to you. I have listened to all the episodes, and I found myself making notes for some reason. You can make fun of me about it if you want. I don't care. So here it goes. We're not going to make fun of you, Nicole.
No.
Like you're the first one to listen to our show and take notes. I feel like that's pretty awesome.
Right, yeah.
I remember the show Friday the 13th TV show series mentioned and remembered it on Sci-Fi Channel. Or remember the Sci-Fi Channel has a show called Haunted Collector with John Zaffis, who collected haunted objects from people's homes to take back to his haunted museum. From what I heard, he is the nephew of the Warrens, who also had their own haunted collecting museum. Can't remember what episode we talked about, but it's funny because we just talked about another haunted item that probably should be in his collection.
I know.
Yeah, definitely.
With the Villisca Axe Murder House, I heard it took front page news all over the country, taking the news spotlight away from the Titanic.
Wow.
Okay.
Interesting. I did not know that.
I didn't know those two things were at the same time frame. Huh.
In the Indrid Cold episode, I believe it was said that the guy or whoever or whatever he was said something about his kind de-aging reminded me of the show Mork and Mindy, where I think Mork's people,
They age backwards.
from adults to kids. The questions that the guy asked seemed like something a census taker would ask too. Yes, I think we all agreed on that.
Yeah.
Mork and Mindy. Wow. Was that like early 80s?
I think it was in syndication at that point. Yeah.
And all right, this is a long one, Nicole, so I'm going to skip to some fun stuff here. She finishes up here. I was wondering what Nash would think the pudding skin would taste like. Meaning, like, what flavor?
Oh, it's always chocolate. It's chocolate, always chocolate. There's no other pudding to have pudding skin with. It's always chocolate.
Tapioca.
Huh?
Tapioca.
Yeah, but then you get the little tapioca bumps in it.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Nothing in nature is perfectly, smooth and all that. You got to have bumps in the road.
Okay. I'll go with you.
By the way, if you're playing the drinking game at home, you will be drunk this episode.
Every time somebody says pudding skin,
You got to take a drink.
take a drink.
Yep. Right.
There's one I skipped over accidentally. When Dave or whoever is trying to talk like a German or whatever, got me thinking about the pigs from Shrek. That would be Nash.
Yeah.
Who does that? Nash, go ahead, give us a little taste. We'll compare it.
Taste of the pudding skin, yeah. Oh, yeah, this pudding skin is always chocolate. I guess it kind of be tapioca if you like the bumps. I don't know.
Well, let's see if we can get some sound here.
So, we are pigs. Pigs in the blanket, yeah? Yeah. So, this is funny then, yeah? Yeah. This is funny, yeah. Yep, that's a good one.
That is a good one, yeah. I believe it is, yeah.
Good job, Nash.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Nicole, thank you so much for sending all that feedback. All right. And we're going to save everything else for the second half. So, without further ado, we're off to Missouri, Cape Girardeau, to talk about a UFO crash. Lish, take it away.
All right. So this takes place 6 years before Roswell actually happened.
Right.
So in the spring of 1941. Now, I was having trouble finding an exact date. I'm thinking maybe April 12th. I did see that somewhere.
Yes.
But everything else was like mid-spring. And I was like,
There was a
okay.
news
Dave, you
report.
confirm?
Yes. There was a
Okay.
news report from the local TV station denoting the 75th anniversary.
Right.
And it has it as the April 12th.
Okay, so I think that's probably where I got it, but everything else that is on the internet about this, they don't have a specific date. They just have 1941, spring. So I was like, okay. Anyway, so this happened in April 1941. Reverend William Huffman, he was summoned by the sheriff because there was a plane crash. And so they wanted him to go do like last rites to people, any survivors. So he got in a car, went over there. When he got to the area, he realized it wasn't a plane crash that what we would think. It was a silver saucer that was embedded in the ground. It was one of those classic, silver round ones.
Like the day the earth stood still.
Yeah. And it had started a fire, I guess. Or, well, I don't know if it started the fire, but there was a fire also on the farmer's field. Part of the side of the disc was ripped open, and there were 3 alien bodies. 2 were dead for sure, and I think one was possibly dying, but there's different reports as far as like if they were all dead or not. But so the Reverend, he looked inside the craft when he was walking towards the bodies, and he saw wires and components of some sort of alien design, and there were strange hieroglyphs and bizarre knobs and dials. So like things he weren't normal.
Couldn't figure out what they were for just by glancing at them. It wasn't like an altimeter or
right.
on-off toggle switch or something like that.
Yeah, so it was very strange. Now, when he got to the bodies, they were short, about 4 feet tall. They had large heads and arms, and they had no hair. They had large oval-shaped eyes, no noses, no ears, just holes. and they didn't have lips, just small slits for their mouths. And they were covered head to foot in what looked like wrinkled aluminum foil. So I don't know if it was their skin or if it was clothing.
Like a spacesuit or something like that.
Excuse me.
So basically,
What a description.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, it seems like the description is the what we've all come to know as like the grays, the small grays.
Yes,
like, to the
pretty
T.
much, yeah. Now, the Army Air Corps, they showed up, and they promptly cordoned. Am I saying
I hate
that
when
right?
people cordone something.
Cordoned off the area.
Say hello to my little
I
friend.
know. And all the witnesses were sworn to secrecy. Any photographs that were taken, they were all confiscated. Anybody that was like trying to like take objects or whatever, it was all taken away from them. A military officer at the crash site told the Reverend to keep his mouth shut about this for reasons of national security. Of course, even though he was told this, he still went home and told his wife.
As you do.
Yeah.
Of course, and their 2 sons. But he never spoke of this to anybody else again. Okay? Now, the reason this is out is because in the 1970s, Charlotte Mann, who is the granddaughter of the Reverend, began telling the story after her grandmother, who was dying of cancer, told her everything. So, like, on her deathbed, she was like, I have to tell you this crazy story that's going on with our family. You might not know about it. And when her grandmother told her all this stuff, she was like, I remember seeing photographs. Her grandfather actually had one of these photographs, and it was passed down to her dad. And
So the Reverend, he had a photograph.
He did have a
managed
photo.
to smuggle one out.
Yep.
yeah, actually, I don't think he took one out that night, but I think it was given to him by somebody
I was going to
else.
say he could not keep this with
No.
secret at all. I went home, told his family right
Yeah.
away, had a picture.
Now, she did actually see the photo when she was like, I don't know, 7 or 8. She actually did look at it. I saw the picture originally from my dad, who had gotten it from my grandfather. After my grandfather died, my dad kept the picture and was very interested in UFO info. Then, when I was 10 or 11, a close friend of my dad's asked if he could borrow it to show his folks. So Dad let him have it, but he never got it back.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, you don't loan that out.
no.
You make copies.
I know. Now, man, she was giving a description of that picture. My recollection from what I saw in the picture was a small man about 4 feet tall with a large head and long arms. He was thin and no bone structure was apparent, kind of soft looking. He had no hair on his head or body, with large oval, slightly slanted eyes, but not like Oriental from left to right, more up and down.
That's what she said?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Very PC of her.
I know. He had no ears at all and nose like ours. His mouth was as if his mouth was as if you had cut just a small straight line where it should have been. His skin or suit looked like crinkled up tinfoil.
So she just said the same thing?
Yeah, and it covered all of him. I believe he had 3 fingers, all quite long, but I can't be sure on this. Now, if you look this up on the internet, there are some pictures out there, but I think they're all fake.
Yes.
And so there is a photo out there where 2 military men are holding the long arms of what is supposed to be an alien creature, but I think it kind of looks like a monkey.
Right.
And she said that it is nothing like what I saw. That picture showed men in overcoats, while in my picture, the man had no coats. That picture also shows 2 women. Mine had none. The alien in yours looks like a tiny doll, but smaller and shorter than mine.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I found a site with somebody who was skeptical of the whole thing, and it described that whole interaction. And that photo that you're describing is actually a fake.
Okay.
Not her version, but
Right.
the one that she was shown is a fake where somebody took a picture of government officials with a chimpanzee, I believe, for a space launch,
Yeah.
and interposed it with a potential alien,
Yeah.
and that has made rounds throughout history for proof of alien life,
Right.
and that was what the skeptic had shown her to. I actually don't think the guy who showed it to her was a skeptic. He was just trying to make sure it wasn't that she was remembering a fake photo,
Right.
and she had all those differences.
Right. So I do have some corroboration, not evidence, but information.
Okay.
In what might be considered a not very persuasive bit of evidence, Clarence R. Shade, who was the brother of the sheriff in the Cape Girardeau area in the 1940s, said he remembered hearing of a crash, and he seems to remember talk of little people associated with it. Now, Charlotte Mann's sister, she provided a sworn affidavit confirming the story also. So in other words, it wasn't just Charlotte. It was a bunch of people in her family that actually remember this. And then the Cape Girardeau Fire Department, they have records detailing the date of the crash and confirming the account that the local military did swear the personnel to secrecy and also removed evidence of the crash from the site. So they actually have some records. I don't know why those records weren't taken away, but
records of the logistics involved from
Right.
other sources.
Yep.
Yeah.
now, and then also after years of military directed silence, there have been some eyewitnesses to this crash that have made deathbed confessions as well. So, so there is some corroboration to this.
Right.
Okay.
It's not all just,
Hearsay.
hearsay. Yes.
Gotcha.
Go
Go ahead.
Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was going to say, did you see the thing of when she was challenged on it? She said she gave I forget, I lost my place, but she said she basically, her and her family went to the Pentagon or other military, and they were basically told that yes, these things happened.
Right.
It's like she was given confirmation, which sounds really out there. Like I don't see the government. Just
I don't see that either.
Yeah,
But
she's saying that that's what they were told. That
Right.
yes, what you're describing is real. The other weird thing that I found was the way he got the photo. Did you find that?
No.
I did see something about that, but I don't think I wrote it down. So go ahead, please.
He left that night and didn't have a photo. He came back. He talked about it with his wife and his two sons, and then 2 weeks later he left for a while. And when he came back, he had the photo.
Oh.
So that's kind of like some kind of intrigue. Like what's going on?
where'd he go?
Where'd he go?
Right.
Who'd he talk to? Why, if the military had done all this, would they suddenly allow this photo to get out and him to take it? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like,
Yeah.
Unless somebody on the inside wanted
Right.
to get this information out.
Yeah.
Well, and I was also gonna. I was thinking about this. And I was thinking about the era that it was in. It was in 1941, because we were basically at war at that time. So I'm thinking that maybe the government had bigger fish to fry. They had other thing, because December 7th of that year is when Pearl Harbor happened. So we had some pretty serious things happening. So something happened in Missouri.
Yeah.
Might not have been high on their priority list to go through, and they're just like, you know what,
Right.
just tell them whatever, get them out of the door. We have other things that we have to worry about.
Now,
Probably was an extremely high priority, though, and they needed to shush it up
Right.
away because of everything that was going on. This would maybe
Right.
be too much.
I
Right.
did come across something where people were speculating was an aspect of the scientifically examined alien craft's propulsion system. Was it applied to the U.S. nuclear weapons program to help win World War II? Because this happened, in 41. So, it's a question, curious question.
I think if we had been on the right track, then 4 years to figure out a nuclear bomb wouldn't have been that much. But if we weren't at all close, then 4 years to decipher alien technology is perfectly on track.
Right.
To figure, use that, decipher it, rebuild it as our own.
Now, I did have a quote from Paul Hellyer. He's the former Canadian Defense Minister. He said, decades ago, visitors from other planets warned us about where we were headed and offered to help. But instead, we, or at least some of us, interpreted their visits as a threat and decided to shoot first and ask questions after. So, some of the things that I was seeing, there was a fire.
Right.
But the bodies weren't burned. The ship wasn't burned.
Mm-hmm.
So, my question is, yes, did we shoot it down?
Right.
But did we shoot first and ask questions later? But
well, that got me thinking about why was the ship here? Who knows why? If it were true, why was the ship here? And so I thought, I kind of go on my side, out in left field, and so I got thinking, was this ship just a 3? Was it just coming in? Was it transporting something? Where's the ship? Where's the creatures? All of these things. So that got me thinking, of course, what else is in the area? What's going on in that area? So I pulled up. Now, this is as of, I think it was about a year ago, has to do with the number of sightings in Missouri around the area. And I pulled up actually a heat map of the area and then promptly printed it in black and white. So you can't really see the heat map. It looks like a giant coffee stick.
Yeah,
all the
it
heat
does.
out of that map.
Yeah, exactly. And there are a ton of activity. There is a ton of activity in nearby St. Louis, which is just a little bit north. Okay, so there's like a hotbed of activity happening in the area and in Missouri. So that got me thinking, okay, well, what else is in Missouri? Because this is what I do. So I thought, okay, well, let's talk about the military bases in the nearby area.
Ooh.
So in probably about a 50-mile radius, 100-mile radius, there are 22 military bases in and around exactly where this happened. So that got me thinking, well, were these aliens coming to share technology, to pick up people? Were they like chauffeurs? Were they getting some kind of something to take back out into wherever they're from? I don't know, or bring some information that caught on fire or whatever. So that got me thinking, okay, well, where were they going? So I happened to, I'm thinking, okay, well, like NORAD is underground. So I just happened to type in, subterranean military bases. And in the area right there is a place called Subtropolis. Subtropolis, underneath all of this, is a 55 million square foot facility.
Wow.
Of commercial grade area, including streets and railroads, completely underground with, right now, currently 6 million square feet of it is currently occupied, with expansion for another 8 million square feet ready for, I guess, for expansion, for future expansion to...
Quick moving.
Yeah, exactly. So it's already there underneath all of this. There's already the subterranean base underneath this.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, I didn't look as to when that was created and how long it's been there, but it's absolutely massive, and it stretches. There's an artificial cave in the bluffs above Missouri River in Kansas City, Missouri, U.S., and it claims to be the world's largest underground storage facility. So I thought, okay, well...
Wonder where you could store a UFO.
Right. Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm thinking, okay, we hear about all kinds of places to hidey holes for secret rooms and houses and whatnot. And I'm thinking, this is a 55 million square foot facility underground. I'm trying to think of how big that actually is. And I didn't do the math to see like miles or kilometers or see how big it is, but I'm thinking that's pretty darn big.
Yeah.
1 acre is what? 42,000 square feet.
It's 1 acre.
It's 1 acre.
Okay, 42,000. So that's 10. That's 100. That's what is that? 10,000 acres. We're doing some math here.
Why are you guys doing math? I looked
about 1,300 acres.
1,300 acres.
Wow.
while you were looking that up, I was looking up the Subtropics. So here's a review I found on it.
Yeah.
Nice place, but in certain areas, all you smell is someone smoking weed.
But there's got to be places in there. I mean, it's all underground, so they're all dark hidey hole places. So there's got to be secret places in there for storing or testing and whatnot. So that got me thinking, okay, well, maybe the UFOs, maybe they were here before.
Right.
And this was just a courier of some kind. So, of course, that got me thinking about aliens partnering with the U.S. military.
Oh, boy.
So then,
oh, God.
Here we go.
You're still going.
Yeah,
Okay.
still going. Definitive proof that they've been testing on DNAs in a joint operation in underneath here with the aliens, because we've already got it. They already know that they're there. So I just pulled up, different cryptids in Missouri. We already know about one of them, Momo. Momo is there. There's also the Nixa Hellhound.
What?
Yeah, there's called the Nixa Hellhound.
Nixa or Nixon?
Nixa.
Okay.
Nixa.
So not like a former president.
Yeah. I kind of like the Nixa Hellhound just because he was also called the Booger Dog. I don't know why they called the Booger Dog, but it's called the Booger Dog. Okay.
Part of me wants to know. Part of me doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I am, too. I'm enjoying that little spot right there. There's the Ozark Howler, the Big Muddy Monster, and the Piazza and other giant flying, it just says flying things. Now, the Piazza was the one that was the closest because it was spotted in 1948. So I'm thinking, okay, so the aliens were coming down. They're doing a joint gig with the military because this is the pre-Roswell. We already have the place where they were in this Subtropolis place, doing experiments on hybridizing animals, the Booger Dog, and humans. We have the Momo, and we have other, and one of them happened to get out, this Piazza bird thing. I'm thinking they've been here this whole time. It just corroborates the bigger story. That there are aliens already here testing on us. They're among us.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I like how the entire table was just looking at Nat.
We're going like, oh, boy.
What is happening?
Here he goes.
I'm like, I swear if he brings up Celine Dion.
I wasn't even going to go there. But yes, that's a refinement right there.
Oh, boy.
Because I'm not going to go there.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go there.
Don't do it.
Yeah. But this is just early stages of the testing. When they refined it, they had, Celine Dion and, some of the other ones that I've mentioned.
Not that it really matters, but 55 million square feet is about 2 square miles.
Okay.
Which is big, but not big
Not
enough
huge.
for an Independence Day style ship coming in.
Right. Square miles. No, it would have to be smaller ships.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the one that crashed. Huh?
Like a
In
transport ship.
Cape Girardeau. Girardeau is whatever the place is called. Yeah. In Missouri. That's my bigger thesis on this whole thing, is that they were just returning back and forth. They were just like, not test pilots, but they were on a routine trip and something went wrong.
A routine expedition?
A routine expedition. That's right.
Transport.
They were just transporting something from their, they were the eyeball transports. I don't know. They were doing something like that. See? There you go.
All right.
That's it.
That literally left me speechless. Yes. Liz, do you have any more?
Please, do you have anything else?
I do. So to go back to your picture of a coffee stain.
Yeah.
The National UFO Reporting Center, in 2019, there were 119 sightings of a UFO in Missouri. And it's not necessarily an object. It's people see lights, or they see like a triangle shaped.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of interesting that just last year alone, 119. That's nuts.
Yeah, all surrounded by, all underneath, the sightings are all going to be above 22 different military bases. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Now, I came across an article.
Why are we looking to the stars when the UFO are under our feet?
They're under their feet. They're everywhere.
I also found an article that was about Dr. Emmett Reary. He is a chiropractor in Missouri.
Okay.
But he's also a MUFON investigator. Now, the article said MOFON, but I'm pretty sure it was a typo.
Yeah.
MUFON. He believes that there is a paranormal highway in Missouri. It's 33 miles long. It goes from Salem to Rolla. It's about 2 hours west of Cape Girardeau.
Keep.
And not only are UFOs seen in that stretch of area, but so are Bigfoot.
See?
I know.
Because there's some pretty dense woods out there.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, the Muddy Monster and Momo, they're all...
Missouri's got all kinds of things going on.
They do. Aliens, genetic testing, cryptids.
Our buddy Will's out there.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Yep. Just, no cows. You got to watch the cows because the aliens are into cows. So just be careful of your cows.
When was the first sighting of Bigfoot in Missouri?
Oh, I didn't get that
If
one.
it would have been like right after 1941, after the alien crash.
Right? I don't know. If somebody had maybe...
Or
think
maybe
of
it
their
escaped.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, this guy, he was saying that lots of times when people see a UFO, they also see a Bigfoot, which is, I think I've brought this up many times, that they seem to be kind of related in a way. Right. And he was like, and there's even reports of a Bigfoot coming out of a UFO. And I was like, okay.
It's like,
I like that. Yeah.
That was just like Chestnut Ridge in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
When that came down, then they saw Bigfoots floating.
It's just like Taco Bell and KFC. They're together now in the same building. So whenever you see one, you see the other one.
I did want to say that
I'm going to take that part out.
I also found a lot of recent articles on the internet about this, but they were all talking about previous things. So it's like there's a resurgence in the last 2 to 3 years about this topic, but not with new sightings, but just new interest in it. Like there's a lot of people who are really like diving into this. And, a lot of our topics, I either see a lot of old information or it's relatively new, like, people,
right.
Coming up with new sightings or new things. But this is like a newfound interest in it, which is weird. Like,
I feel like, in the past, few years, I don't know if there's been a lot of deathbed confessions or, maybe that's what's making people look into this more, but it is interesting.
Yep.
I was just trying to figure out the Chestnut Ridge UFO happened a little bit later. It was 1965.
Okay.
So a good 20, 25 years later, something like that. So that could have been, who knows? Advancement in technology made the chestnut-looking, the big nut-looking ship, and it went off course and ended up over there.
Right.
Wow, yeah, I know what it's like to go off course.
Yeah. So just say, people in Missouri, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you see a UFO, just keep going. Just don't give it any.
No, stop. Get a picture.
I
Yeah.
know.
Well, no,
Definitely
because
take a picture.
there's going to be a giant cryptid right after there.
Yeah, then wait around and take another photo.
Yeah, ask for an autograph.
How do you think they're grabbing the people? See, they're grabbing the people for the abductions. You have the cryptid on the ground, the man on the ground, or the thing on the ground, knocking the people out so that the aliens come down and scoop them up.
I don't think we need to be knocked out for them to take us.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I don't know. But
I don't know. I think if you see a giant Sasquatch or
I go willingly.
Yeah.
knowing what they're going to probe, I'm going to say no to that. I'm just saying.
The look in your eyes, you're full of crap. You're on board.
Well, someone's got to test their cuisine. You got to see what they're eating up there. Just
What
saying.
if aliens actually, that's all they ate was pudding skin? Drink.
See, I'm just thinking you're distracted by the cryptid by Momo walking around, and when you're looking over there, you got to watch out what's on your left-hand side because you're looking to the right, and you go.
Maybe they're
That's the sound of getting sucked up into the ship.
Yeah.
Yep.
Velociraptors in Jurassic Park.
That's right. Exactly.
Woo! I am going to call for a break. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. What a beautiful morning. Rise and shine, friends. We're looking for Bigfoot today.
Oh, my God. What was that?
Is that Bigfoot?
No, that's just Nash. He's a real bear in the morning before he gets his coffee.
Here, Nash. I made a fresh pot of Moses family coffee.
Their original roasted pecan is amazing.
Yum. This is amazing. Bigfoot's right behind me, isn't he?
Run! Ah! Go to mfjerky.com and use promo code SpookyJerky15 to save 15% off your entire order. Moses Family Coffee. The best way to start your paranormal or normal adventure. And we're back. I hope you're still with us after all that.
I can refresh and rephrase and summarize if we need.
No, I think
boy.
people are good.
Dave, you have something to tell us.
Yes. So one of the the thing that stands out to me from a skeptic's point of view, this has a lot of similarities to a lot of conversation about monkeys and chimpanzees and things like that, and really that's where I think this stems from is the concept that this may have been a Soviet weather balloon that had chimpanzees on it that got somehow either sucked too high into the atmosphere or whatnot and blown across the earth and came down in Missouri. And when that happened, all of the occupants would have died or been close to death from asphyxiation and cold.
Okay.
No burns, no blunt force trauma, none of that. All of the dials and gauges and everything would have been in Russian Cyrillic, so it would not have looked like a normal alphabet. The chimpanzees probably were wrapped in some form of a spacesuit, which would be the weird aluminum, things like that. You wouldn't have actually seen it until you cut off the suit.
Right.
So I think that this could be a precursor to Roswell type of thing, but it does feel like this is probably a scientific experiment gone awry that either the U.S. government or the Russian government or any other government didn't want to really talk about. I think Russia and the U.S. would be the two primary candidates for this kind of a thing.
Well, the question that I was thinking of as you were explaining that, because that sounds very plausible. Would there be, and I don't know if in our space program's history, when we put chimps in space or in weather balloons or whatnot, do they still write on the inside of the ship? Do the chimps? This is, it doesn't. Just a logistical question. Do they teach English to the chimps? Can the chimps read, or do they know the placement or of the buttons and dials?
So typically, the chimps wouldn't have been doing. They wouldn't be the operators
because it's automated, right?
Right. Yes, but the people setting it up would have needed to know the things that go where and how and those types of things. In addition, if this was a prototype that was designed for eventual human use,
right,
then they wouldn't have wanted to continue to expand it.
I see what you're saying. I think it's completely off base. It had to be UFOs.
Interesting, Dave. I like that.
Yeah.
Liz, you mentioned inside about the hieroglyphics.
Wow,
Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Yes. And I know that Russian, when it's written out, lots of times it looks different than what we know, and it almost looks like it could be kind of symbols. So I almost wonder if the.
I'm just thinking, Midwest Baptist minister
in 41,
a very intelligent human being, but probably not world traveled.
Right.
Maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah.
How boned up on Russian language he would be recognizing.
Or another country. I think, again, given the 41 time frame, the the Germans may have, been possible for this with their V2 rockets, but that would have been a more English or what's the Latin script. But the Russians would have been the ones gearing up for this.
Because it was a very high military activity time.
Right.
Super high activity time.
Right.
And it would have been a time of a lot of experimentation. One of those experiments, for lack of a better term, gets loose.
Right.
It was only supposed to go up to 50,000 feet, but it kept going. And,
Kept on going.
Those poor monkeys, but oh well.
Now, the only thing that I would refute your claim is that I know for a fact at that time that Russia, there were no monkeys in Russia.
Okay.
They didn't have them there.
Right.
Yeah. Just in America.
Well, and to refute my own thing, if there was
that is absolutely not a real fact.
No.
That's a Nash fact.
but yeah, the to refute my own claim, the how did a weather balloon that didn't, it just went up and a little too high and blew across the earth.
Yeah.
It doesn't have fuel.
Correct.
So how did it start a fire?
How would it burn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to poke holes in everything, including my own theories.
Right. Well, and they found like a saucer, like a saucer shaped disc.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not. I mean, were there balloons?
Well, that's
different?
the official government response for Roswell.
Okay.
Is that what was found in Roswell was actually a weather balloon, an Air Force weather balloon that came down. And so, to that end, if that's the design they were going for weather balloons,
okay,
in the time frame, then yeah,
Maybe that's just how you bring it. You shape it like a saucer, and then you send it up in the weather balloon, and then when you want the thing to come back down to Earth, you just cut the cords, and the saucer comes back down and hits, and everything's a flying saucer.
Right.
But really, it's the
Right.
basket side of the
Right.
balloon.
Yep.
It just looks like a saucer.
Yeah.
Like a lawn dart almost. just so it sticks in the ground, so it doesn't like skip or something.
The astronaut asks as he climbs in, "Why does this look like a lawn dart?"
Don't worry about it. Just don't mind that part of it. That's why all rockets are pointy.
Usually, they're pointy on the up side.
Yeah, but if they come like a lawn, anyway.
Oh boy!
Oh boy! Oh boy!
Wow! All right, we good?
Yeah.
That's a different question altogether. But I think we're done with the subjects.
Well, then we're going to jump into some listener stories. So, who would like to go first? We have 3 of them. I'll go first since nobody's raising their hand. We heard from Kelly. Now, if you remember, they told us a story about Pocatello High School in the last one. So here's some elaboration of that. Okay, so here's some stories from my time working at the school. Story number 1. So this is the time I met the lady in the library. It was about 8 o'clock at night, and I was at the end of a hallway, crouched down and sweeping stuff into a dustpan. As I'm doing this, I catch movement out of the corner of my eye. As I look up and to my left, I see the shadow of a lady in a long flowing dress, like in the old days, and she's coming out of the entrance to the library. Only thing is, she wasn't making any footsteps, and I noticed she didn't have feet, but she was moving towards me fast. When I looked up and saw her, it was like I caught her doing something bad, because as soon as we saw each other, she abruptly turned and went through a heavy, solid wood door and into a classroom. Obviously, I dropped what I was doing and calmly went to find my coworkers outside.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That would be intense, I think, to see a full-bodied apparition. Well, not completely full-body, I guess missing the feet.
Right.
But that would be, I'd be walking outside. I'd just be like, excuse me.
Yeah. I don't think calmly is any kind of word I would use in description of my reaction.
Heck no.
Yeah, I'd have to go outside, get me a beer.
Right.
And just sit and think, did I really just see that?
Right. Just go for a little walk, kind of gather your thoughts, and then head back in. Yeah.
Right.
And story number 2. So this story happened in the hallway next to the auditorium. My coworker was going on a break, and I was going to finish mopping the staircase. I heard her leave to go outside. Maybe 10 minutes later, I hear my name being called in that long, spooky way, like on a TV or in a movie. It sounds like my coworker, and she sounds like she's down at the end of the hall. I hear my name called out again, and asking, where am I? I say, I'm over here. No response. By now, my gut says to check to see if she's still outside. I look, and sure enough, she's at the church across the street having a smoke break with the other workers. I promptly went to the closet and grabbed our stuff because I sure wasn't going to see who was looking for me. They say they see me coming toward them, speed walking. My boss asked me what I was doing because I had a worried look on my face. I asked if they had been in there during the break, and they said they weren't. I told them what happened and that I wasn't going back alone. Thanks for listening to my stories, and if you find yourself in Gate City, I'd love to give you the grand tour.
Wow.
Cool.
Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, again, I think if I heard someone call my name asking me, where am I?
Yeah.
And no one's in the building, I'd be walking.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd grab my stuff and head out.
I don't know if I'd be speed walking. I would just say, you know what? I'll be right back and just right out.
I mean, as much as I want to capture proof or something, but why does it know my name?
Right.
Right.
Why is it calling for me?
Right.
It would just be, I'd have to go outside and take a break.
Yep.
I'd be terrified of that. Oh my gosh.
Well, Lish has some stuff here.
I do. So this is from Alexandra. Hey, Paranormal Punchers. Many of the stories mainly center around my sleep paralysis episodes, like the time yellow and red flashing lights ran across my vision and a figure of a man was laughing at me. It was only when I started to pray did it disappear. Maybe there is truth to prayer. I know sleep paralysis not exactly paranormal, but the history behind it is interesting. And how many people pin down alien experiences and demon possession to sleep paralysis. For a more ghostly story, here's a golden oldie that every good Cape Townian knows, the Flying Dutchman. For centuries, seafarers have reported a spectral ship sailing around the tip of Cape Point on stormy nights. Witnesses say that if you hail the ship, it releases rowboats with phantom men who approach you with letters to deliver to their loved ones. These accounts are linked to the tale of the vessel called the Flying Dutchman that was caught in a storm in 1641 near Cape Point while journeying to Holland from Indonesia. The captain reportedly refused to turn back, swearing he would round the jagged tip of Africa if it was the last thing he did. It was. The boat was destroyed and all the crew drowned that night. There have been sightings from Cape Point to Cape Agulhas, but some say that witnessing the Flying Dutchman is a bad omen. Or a story from my home valley of Hout Bay. Different variations on how to pronounce it. Afrikaans is Hout, but generally it is Hout. Hout means wood after the forest that once was there. Just extra facts. Over the years, the staff of Katima, the restaurant that now occupies the homestead of Cronendal, sorry, hon, between Constantia,
You have so many new words to try to figure out.
Constantia Neck and Hout Bay have reported strange sightings both in and outside the house. Sometime in the 1840s, a British soldier sought the hand of Elsa Clote, who lived there with her family, but was refused by her father and banned from contacting her again. Distraught at the loss of his love, the soldier hanged himself in an oak tree just outside the house. Elsa is said to have died shortly after. These days, the two longing lovers can reportedly still be seen in and around the house, with Elsa's ghost moving objects around the house and staring out of a window, while the soldier roams around the avenue where he took his own life. I have never personally seen it, but since Hout Bay is the second oldest European settlement in South Africa, after Cape Town, I am not surprised at all. Love you guys. I hope you found some of this interesting. You shall never run out of episodes at this rate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch base quick on the sleep paralysis
Yeah.
because we had a couple things like that pop up. You had an incident. So yeah, no, I think it could possibly be paranormal.
For sure.
Sleep paralysis. It's interesting that she saw the flashing lights.
Right.
Because last time we talked about aliens standing around.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And the next story that Dave's going to read is about sleep paralysis.
Right.
Ooh.
Yep. So this story is from Michelle. Listen to your recent cast about and the discussion on sleep paralysis and the listener's story about seeing the alien creatures. So New Year's Eve, I have to admit I was pretty intoxicated, so I shrugged it off, and I did have an experience where I saw a shadow of a figure moving in front of me. Of course, I chalked it up to the alcohol, but maybe if I was sober, I would have paid more attention. It was weird and felt like my body was being sucked up by this thing like a dementor.
Ooh.
But again, I was super trashed. I've been there too. Hey, it was New Year's Eve, and I was going to see Star Wars in 3D the next morning, so I wanted to be prepared.
Prepared with a hangover so you could deal with the movie, or
I don't know.
Yeah.
okay.
So I mentioned it to you guys before about my husband and his sleep paralysis. His paralysis got worse when he moved into our house. He has some weird alien creature-like paralysis trips that were frightening to him. He was getting frustrated with being exhausted from the paralysis trips he was getting, so he decided to read about astral projecting. Apparently, you can astral project while in sleep paralysis if you recognize it as sleep paralysis and try to pull yourself from your body willingly. He was successful one time. He was able to look down at his body and walk out the bedroom door and down the stairs to our living room in his projection form. He was greeted by his astro guide, which took the form of an old boss of his. His guide directed him to look out of our living room windows, which became a huge balcony. There were colors and beauty everywhere. It was super psychedelic, as he would describe it. He decided he wanted to try to fly in his projection, and when he went to try, he woke up. One of the many theories on sleep paralysis is that your mind can travel between the pudding skin.
What's up?
Everybody drink again.
Drink, everybody.
I've only astral projected once briefly when I meditated, but for anyone who is sleep paralysis sensitive, astral projecting might be a method you can practice to travel the pudding skin realms.
Drink.
Talking about aliens, a great spooky alien encounter is the abduction at Devil's Den. Probably one of the most frightening experiences I've ever heard. And finally, you guys are awesome. We definitely need to go for a beer sometime soon when I'm in your area.
Ooh,
Heck yeah.
Definitely.
That's Michelle from Lewistown Print Shop. She printed the Beer for My Bigfoot t-shirt.
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Never, I mean, I have not experienced sleep paralysis, but yeah, I would like to do astral projection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So astral project when you're having your sleep paralysis, but you have to be aware that you're having it. So then you could...
Well, you are aware that it's happening because you're trapped.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, I think that might be a logical...
But he also had weird alien creatures like
Right.
things when he was suffering from paralysis. That's what you saw.
Yep.
That's what our listeners saw. Alexandra just talked about the lights flashing.
Right.
So what if it really is aliens? The sleep paralysis, because they do something to you, like
I don't know.
give you a shot or something that so they can poke you. And you can't do anything about it. You can't move.
In some of my past experiences with sleep paralysis, I guess the aliens are not showing their form. They're just talking in my ear. It's super annoying.
I wonder why they won't, like, I'm right next to you.
I know.
Why are they ignoring me?
I don't know.
What don't I have that they want?
No, maybe they've taken over your body and she hears your voice.
Oh, yeah. What if you're like the speaker?
Oh,
You're the
boy.
Bluetooth. They're Bluetoothing through you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Huh. That would be interesting. So, but when you're having your sleep paralysis and you're aware of what's happening, is it like a panicking situation?
Oh, for sure. Because it's hard to breathe. It feels like there's pressure, like somebody's like pushing on your chest. At least for me.
Right.
So is it something that you would be possible to be able to, when you know that you're having it, to calm down enough to be able to do an astral projection? I think that's
that's
Jedi level kind of mind ability.
That would be the question because I don't think I could. I'm not calm at all.
Right.
I'm the opposite of calm when I'm having this because it's terrifying. Right. You can't move.
From Michelle's story, it sounded like this is something that her husband experiences very often.
Right.
So he's probably so used to it, like, here we go again.
This
Right,
is happening,
right.
so he's already kind of ready for it.
Right. And once he read about, okay, here are the things I can do, well, okay, I'm already used to the whole experience.
Right.
Let's do this now.
Right.
Ah.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I only have it every once in a while.
Right.
I think I've had like 4 or 5 different things in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So
That would be a good, maybe a good skill to learn, to give a little bit greater description of
Right.
how he does something like that.
Yeah.
Because that might help people who have sleep paralysis more
Right,
frequently
right.
or at all to be able to say, no, this is happening. I need to be calm. I can do this as a way to see what's happening and not like lose it when you're having your sleep paralysis, to keep yourself calm and be able to see what's going around you. I think that's something that he could possibly share.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw this movie. I think it was The Dark Tapes. It was like a compilation of short found footage style movies. But they were doing this experiment for sleep paralysis. They ended up, I guess, capturing what was happening. It's a creature from another dimension was coming and sitting on his chest and sucking the life essence from him. Do you remember that
Yes,
one?
I do remember that one. Mm-hmm. It was super creepy.
Right.
Just like what happened in Star Trek.
Bubba Hotep.
That's a good
Yeah.
one, too. Nice, nice, nice.
Good pull there, David.
Yeah, yeah.
Glad you're back. Yeah. Hey, if you'd like to send us your story or just some feedback or just comments, whatever, just go to paranormalpunchers.com. You'll find all the social medias. You'll find a contact form. You'll find ways to get hold of us. Even if you want to send a letter, you'll find snail mail.
That's right.
That's not true. We don't have our address on the website.
No, I don't think we do.
Or if you want to send us tips on how to get past sleep paralysis and do this, that would be
Yeah.
helpful.
For sure.
No, we are not qualified to help anybody out with that.
No, but we know a Jedi Master who can.
We're not really qualified for anything.
No.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I know.
We do
Barely
our best.
qualified to sit around the table together.
I know.
All right, so that was like a total of 8 pudding skins. Not bad. We'll see
think
if
so.
we beat that record.
Uh-huh.
We are working on a paranormal trivia episode that will be videotaped. Mm-hmm. So you can watch this because apparently some people want to see what we look like.
Do
Yes.
people still know what videotapes are?
So you can watch us on your favorite device streaming.
Yeah.
Is that better? You happy? You
We'll
happy?
stream the event. How about that? I don't know.
I don't know. It's going to be pretty embarrassing. Whoever's on my team.
That's right. I'm going to get it on.
Oh, we already got it set up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We already have the teams.
Yeah,
figured.
since
nice.
someone needs to come up with the questions, that'll be me.
Yeah, yeah.
So Cass is going to step in and be on Lish's team. So
Yep.
it's Lish and Cass versus Dave and
Oh,
Nash.
sorry, man.
No, I have to apologize to you.
Well, you still have time because every question will be based on something from an episode we did.
Yeah.
So you have
No.
see if Dave missed 50% and he's listened to 0%.
And I'm drinking through most of it anyway, so.
After each round of questions, somebody or the losing team has to reach beyond the pudding skin and eat whatever they find. So it could be a habanero, it could be a cricket, it could be a slug.
Nice.
Ew.
So Nash is actually excited to lose. Look at you.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be fun. We're going to film it at Funk in the banquet room,
Yep.
and we're going to invite some special guests.
Is there going to be a third team involved?
No, they want to bully their way into it.
Okay. Okay.
But they might be actually do better than you two
Yeah.
because I know.
No. Now you're telling me I have a chance.
So the No Sleeves guys actually do listen
Yeah.
to the episodes more than you, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
More than none.
So that'll be coming your way here soon, hopefully. We just got to make sure we don't do all talk. We got to
Right.
finish
do
the
it.
questions. And
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
We
right.
got the facility. We got the equipment. We just have to sit down and do it. I just need the gross things to eat.
Right.
And habaneros.
Yeah.
Maybe a ghost pepper. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Reaper. Go Reaper.
Go with a Reaper?
Yeah.
You guys are going to probably be losing. Mm-hmm. I think Lish and Cass will
I would
kick your
prefer
butt.
not the Reaper, but the Ghost Pepper will be
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now, I just got I got round 1 Cooking, just got to fit. I'm going to go for 3 rounds.
Okay.
After 3 I don't know what you'll win. Bragging rights?
I was going to say
I think
bragging
this is
rights.
more about what the loser loses.
Right.
The winner wins.
Right.
Okay.
We just need a clever name for the episode. And for our new game show that might kick off, maybe we'll keep going. Anyway, it's a little tidbit of what's coming your way. Now, we have to get ready to record a Patreon episode.
Yep.
So without further ado, we love y'all. Be safe. And remember, if it's not weird,
It's not worth checking out.